Without further ado, we are very, very fortunate to have Peg Drummond with us today. Peg is the CEO of Super Teams and has over 25 years of experience as a successful facilitator, trainer, business owner, leader, and veteran. She collaborates with people in the workforce to create environments of trust and respect, and Peg is committed to energizing teams to improve performance, increase communication, and respectfully manage conflict. Peg has been doing online trainings since the COVID-19 pandemic started, and what she is sharing today is based on actual field experience. And the goal of today's session is to figure out how we're going to successfully do business in our new normal within the hybrid work environment. Thank you so much, Peg, and take it away.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. How many of you have ever been to a lousy meeting online? Let's see your hands. Go ahead, raise them up. I go raise them up. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. How many of you would like to learn some easy tools you can start applying even today, in fact, so your online meetings get better fast? Great. You're in the right place. And as you just heard, my name is Peg Drummond, and our session today is, but I don't want to turn my camera on. Yeah, who can relate? How many of you could be doing something else with your time right now? Let me see hands. Yeah, thank you for taking your time this morning to be here with me. You have my promise. I will do everything in my power to make this next hour time well spent for you. Over the next hour, we're going to look at tools that, as Teresa mentioned, we have field tested. We know they work online to get increased participation and engagement on teams, make things easier for you as a facilitator and leader in process improvement events and meetings. And you might even have a little fun when you use the tools. Key here will be that you're using the tools out in the field, right? Great. So let's take a look at how our next little bit together is going to go. My objective for you is to have an opportunity to learn tools to increase this increase sign team engagement online. And if teams are more engaged, we find that participation goes up and so does performance, right? They all work together. How are we going to handle that? Here's our agenda for the next little bit. Welcome and opening. We're doing that right now, briefly. And then we're going to look at resetting the context. How do we see what we've learned these past couple of years working at home, online? What do we want to do with those lessons learned? And what are we going to do next? Then we're going to talk about resetting our own habits, what we could do to help our teams and ourselves do even better out there online. And then we'll have a quick review and close, and then some question and answer time. Yeah, so please be jotting down ideas, questions, things you want me to tie up and make clear, so at the end of the session we can do that. Also, we've got a parking lot over here, which is going to be handled in the online environment by the Results Washington team. So that Q&A that was earlier mentioned. So ideas, concerns, more questions, jot them down. We'll have our parking lot at the end to make sure they get handled in some way, right? Yeah, great. Thank you so much. If you would, grab something to write with and get that handout at the ready. Yeah, you could download that handout. It's available now. You can link to it, see it, bring it up on your screen. That's what we're going to be using to follow along for this next bit. Okay, everybody ready? Great, let's go. So I don't want to turn my camera on. Who's heard that? Maybe even you've said it yourself in online meetings, yeah? Yeah. After this initial shock of a global pandemic, figuring out how to do life and work remotely, and the new hybrids of at home and in-person at work, it is crucial right now to reset how we're going to do work together. It's a good time to do that. And if you look here on the first page of the handout, resetting the context. That's where we want to begin. Resetting how we're going to work together. consider that this reset is actually a process improvement event in itself, isn't it? We're going to look at what we've learned and how to take those lessons and use them on our teams going forward, right? How do we find out how people have been doing out in the field? How do we find out what lessons they've learned? We're going to go Gemba. We're going to go see them, talk to them, and reconnect. This time of year is a perfect opportunity to start these resets. It's the end of the calendar year, the beginning of a new fiscal year. Great time to reset, yeah? Yeah, so the timing's in our favor as well. When you go see people out in the field, whether that looks like face-to-face or maybe it's online, maybe it's just like we are here today. It's a Zoom call, face-to-face. We want to apply the platinum rule. Who's heard of the platinum rule? Okay, first, let's look at another rule we may be familiar with called the golden rule. Who's heard of the golden rule? Let's see hands. Yeah, a lot of you have heard of the golden rule. Let's say it together. The golden rule goes like this: treat others as I would like to be treated. Yeah? That's a really good start, isn't it? Treating others as I would like to be treated ensures some goodness, yeah? However, whose world are we in? My world, right? How I want to be treated. And man, there are so many perspectives out there, aren't there? So we want to upgrade and reset our own rule, and we call it the platinum rule. Let's look at it. Come here, get ready to grab your pen. Platinum rule, check it out. Treat others, it says here on this chart, platinum rule, treat others as, get ready, they. We're writing in the word they there, as they would like to be treated. Now I'm in their world. Now I know what's been happening for them. And then I know how to reset for my team what we might want to do to make things even better going forward. So platinum rule, see it there on that handout, write it right in. How am I going to find out how they want to be treated? Well, I'm going to go out and ask questions, aren't I? And a specific kind of question. We're going to ask open-ended questions. Who's heard of these before? Lean in, let me see you. Oh, yes, yes. A lot of you are familiar with this tool, open-ended questions. Yeah. Open-ended questions do exactly as the name implies. It opens up conversation. It opens up the brain to creativity, more ideas, remembering experiences when we ask open-ended questions. Yeah, great, great tool. Let's take a look at these. We're at the bottom of the page on the first handout page there. Yeah, you with me? Okay, good, good. There's a secret. Lean in, lean in. There's a facilitator secret here. There's 3 magic words. How many magic words? 1, 2, 3. That will guarantee you an open-ended question when you start your question with one of these 3 words. Let's look at them. Little drum roll, please. Let me hear you. Yeah. In order to reset the context, we want to apply the platinum rule, asking open-ended questions, starting with 3 magic words. Guess what they are? Ready? Ready to write? What? How? And why? The 3 magic words. It's a fail-safe for us. When you begin your question with one of these 3 words, it's automatically open. How good is that, huh? Yeah, easy, easy win right there. Now here's the challenge for us. Human beings are creatures of what, everybody? Fill in the blank. Habit, right? We're creatures of habit. And one of our habits We think we're asking open-ended questions. Most of the time we're asking closed. And closed-ended questions do exactly what their name implies. They close down conversations. They typically are answered with a yes or a no. Yeah, let's take a look at these and do a little practice. What do you say? Yeah, grab a pen, get ready. We're going to change open and these close-ended questions to open. Now, you know the three magic words. What are they again? What, how, why? Yeah. Take a moment. How could you use what, how, and why to change this very commonly asked close-ended question to open? Think about it yourself. How many times have you heard this in a meeting? You're talking about ideas. Somebody says, are there any other questions? What does everybody say? No, because they want the meeting to end, right? They want to get out of there. It shuts down possibilities, details, more creative discussion. So we want to make sure we are masterful at asking these open-ended questions. Yeah. How would you change this using what, how, or why? What is some of you written down? How about what questions do you have? Easy, yeah? You see where we're going? Now let's do it again here. Anything else? We've been talking about this process improvement project. Anything else? People, think about adding what here? What else would we want to talk about? Deceptively simple idea, isn't it? And yet not always easy to do. Here's your homework. You didn't know there was going to be homework, did you? Yeah, just a little bit though. Please go ahead. Begin, here's the homework, listening, right? Tuning our radar on high to listen for conversations around us and our own. And listen for these open and close-ended questions. When you hear a close-ended question, you'll know it's closed because it's answered yes or no. Yeah, you got it. You're a bunch of smart cookies out there. Change it up using what, how, why. This is going to change the kind of information you get from your team. Better, deeper conversations. People will be engaged even faster and better using these questions, okay? So there's your first bit of homework. Now, back to the handout here, if you would, please. Here are some open-ended questions you can ask when you're talking to people on your Gembas, your go-sees, to start to tee up ideas about why they'd want to turn their cameras back on as you are doing these resets of how we do business together online, yeah, going forward. What are the benefits you're seeing being able to work from home? Find out what's been working for them. A lot of people just love this, working from home, right? So we want to keep doing that if it's working. What are your biggest challenges working remotely? We want to learn more about that, don't we? How do they want to be treated? What would help them out in the field? And how would improving the way you do meetings online help you? If we could make our meetings even better, how would that help you working from home or working remotely, right? So we do these interviews, we gather information, we listen, we ask open-ended questions, we continue to listen. We want to connect. People have, I don't know about you, check it out for yourself. I've been hearing out from a lot of teams. People are just hungry for some connection, reconnection. There's been isolation. We just don't know what people have been going through these past few years, have we? Yeah. So we want to be aware and kind about where everybody's at. And that's where these Gembas will really help you get a sense of how your team's doing and then how to proceed. Yeah. Good. Next page. So once you've done your interviews, you've gone and talked to people on your team, one-on-one, private conversations we're talking about here, to find out how they would like to be treated, the platinum rule. asking these open-ended questions. Here's an example, a sample of the why you would want to turn your cameras on. So we're beginning the conversation with them. Let's read along with me. So we've done these interviews and now we're going to respond. As we reset and look what we were doing in 2020 to accommodate a global pandemic, OMG, right? Nobody saw that coming. I'm looking at ways we can raise our bar on how we work going forward, making our meetings even more efficient and organized, yeah? Here's how we can get a quick win. Since we know that 70% of communication is nonverbal, being able to see each other on screen definitely impacts the results we're going to get in meetings. Right during the pandemic, we were all just trying to figure out life in general. Having our cameras on wasn't such a big deal. It was the least of our concerns at that point. But now, almost 3 years later, we know the impacts. We can get a lot more participation and get things done faster when we can see each other. I'd like us to raise our bar and ask that we agree to have cameras on in our meetings, starting, if you have a start date you're looking for, or there's a big meeting that's going to, start a new project, that might be a great time to tee this idea up. Use this as you see fit. And timing, of course, what the timing is best for you to get the result you want. We can see how this will increase our participation and performance when we start putting our cameras on. Let's test it, see how it goes for everybody. In my role as facilitator, if you're going to be a specific facilitator role on a project, or let's say you're just the facilitator in a meeting, weekly department meeting, I'll reset too. I'll reset and make sure we have an agenda, we stay on track, efficient, effective meetings. That you can count on me for that. We'll have a set of agreements I'll set out for your approval to keep us focused and not waste a minute, right? It's for everybody. We're going to reset the bar, make it better, faster, relevant, engage. Yeah. Thanks. Let me know what questions you have. I'll send out an email to the team to tee this all up. Okay. So there's an idea of a way you could begin approaching these conversations about how and why we want to turn cameras on. Let people know why it's important. Yeah. Jot down your questions. What do you want clarified so far? I'm going to switch charts. I'll be right back. We're going to look at one more step in this process of resetting the context. Yeah, be right back. Okay. Everything we just talked about, everybody. Everything we just talked about. All these steps are a process improvement project in their own way, aren't they? We are asking people to change how they've been doing business for the last couple of years and do something different to make things better. As the facilitator, as the leader of this initiative, one of the things that's on our menu, our schedule, is to make time for pre-work. So at the bottom of this page where the why script begins, at the bottom, there's a little white space there, or jot on your own piece of extra paper. Let's break these steps down and really take a moment and look at what it takes to begin these kinds of steps to change your meetings for the better. First of all, I cannot overemphasize the importance for you as facilitators to schedule yourself pre-work time. We often are racing from one meeting to the next meeting to the next meeting, and all of a sudden it's time to go home or shut off your computer at home. And these details, setting this kind of process up, takes time. Give yourself the gift of time. Once you schedule the pre-work time, when that time comes up on your calendar, it's pre-work time. It's a meeting with yourself. Yeah. Practice that go see script we just went over. That's one of the things you can be doing in this pre-work time, as well as scheduling the go see one-on-one meetings to check in with people, to apply the platinum rule, using the 3 magic words that will guarantee you have an open-ended question. What are they, everybody? Out loud. What, how, why? Then you have to schedule the go-sees and go, once you've scheduled them, you go see. That's going to take time too. Yeah. Once you schedule it, then it can happen. If you don't do this scheduling time, it's going to fall through the cracks. Human nature. Yeah. Autopilot will always overtake good intentions. Yeah. And we get busy. So please, this is the first step when we break down the process of this Go See initiative. Then once we're done with the Go Sees, depending on what you hear, you'll decide, do I want to talk about resetting the meetings and turning cameras on and other tools we could apply to make our online meetings better? Or do I want to wait and just let that percolate a little bit and decide my next steps? You'll know what to do depending on your team and circumstances. Then you'll need some more pre-work time to do that. There you go. So schedule this pre-work time every week. I would encourage you at least an hour. Then do pre-work for your meetings and the welcome letter that we're going to look at next. And then look at that. Step number 6. Then we actually have the meeting where we reset and practice the tools we've agreed to. Cameras on, other ideas we're going to look at next. Okay. So please don't miss these important steps. 6 steps. Yeah. All right. How's everybody doing? Great. Me too. Thanks. Next page. Here's the example of the welcome letter I just noted right here. After you're done with the interviews, you've set up why and had a chat with everybody about why putting cameras on is going to be so important, critical to our upgrade, our resetting our context, along with other tools that we'll look at in a moment. You want to send out a welcome letter, an official, clean beginning to this new way of doing business. And here's an example for you again. The next page, welcome team. This is one I send out. So please cut and paste it, use it however best suits you, fit for purpose. Peg Drummond here, your facilitator. Thank you for all you're doing to make time to attend our meetings. You have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to make sure your time's well spent. Yeah. This letter includes details to prepare you for our meeting reset. Please schedule approximately 30 minutes prior to get set up. Okay, that's an ideal state. The date of the meeting, fill that in, time for what time we're going to start. Look at there. Thanks in advance for arriving 5 to 10 minutes early to the first session together to get settled in. Okay, so then we're assuring we have an on-time start, right? We're building in the pre-work to assure success. The objective, what's the objective of our meeting? What's the agenda? So have that listed for them. Here's the agreements. Reset meeting agreements online. Why are we having agreements? You may have heard of them as ground rules. Who's heard of ground rules? Yeah, sets a whole different tone, doesn't it? So we're looking at ways people will agree as subject matter expert professionals to work together in our meeting. We call them agreements. To stay on track and focused and get the best from ourselves and our time together, it's critical to have agreements. So the why behind this, why it's important. I found these 6 agreements are a great foundation. When we open the session, we'll go over them and you can add any as needed if people want to add some, right? Easy to do. Let's look these over. Respect the speaker, one speaker at a time, avoiding side conversations and chats. Online, chats can get in the way. There is distracting in some cases as whispering in a face-to-face meeting. So hold the chats, jot down your ideas and questions till the end, and then we can answer them then, right? All ideas welcome. Get your hand up in that screen tile. Let's see it so that we can add all of our creativity into the conversation, right? You may not, freedom to disagree, next one. You may not agree with everything we're talking about here and about it might not be your values, experiences, beliefs, and that's okay. In your role, as it is in mine, as the facilitator, we can talk about anything in a respectful, safe way. Yeah, and that's where we want to reset that bar, right? Start and end on time. We will start on time. There it is again. How many of you have been at meetings that don't start on time. It's a common symptom that drives people crazy in meetings, that they don't start on time. They spend the first few minutes, sometimes the first 10 minutes or so, just figuring out what they're going to do and waiting for people because they haven't done pre-work. This is essential. If you don't do pre-work, you're going to be doing rework, and it is not lean. Live lean, even in your meetings. Yeah. It's a great way to get traction fast. Back to start and end on time there in those agreements. We'll be taking frequent breaks, so we'll have a clock. Yeah, like that. Electronics off. Please remove other distractions that could get in the way or distract us while we're in session online. Right? And then jump in, especially online. Each of us is responsible for staying focused and engaged. A huge part of the success of our team and our project is you and how we show up. And then you ask permission, and it's also a heads up that you're going to be asking questions in round robin. You might call on people by name occasionally, or pairs of people to weigh in. So everybody's teed up. They know they're going to be asked to participate, right? We want to let them know that. There you go. So next page, welcome letter. Again, additional information if this fits for your team. Some workshop space setup. Here's some Zoom tutorial links if people are not familiar with Zoom. And that's why they don't want to have their camera on, right? One of the reasons. They're just not sure what to do and how to blur or how to set their background. These links will help them with that. You can help them with that. You may find that out when you have your go see one-on-one conversations with them. Yeah. Arrange your space so you can stand or sit and see the screen. Check your camera, camera's on. So there it is. We're building it right into the welcome letter. The expectation now is in this reset, camera's on. Utilize the largest screen or monitor you have available. It'll be easier to see each other because we want to be able to read nonverbal communication. Yeah. Yeah. Making sense, everybody? Good. Please consider your background. Feel free to blur the screen option. I can help you with that if you're not quite sure how to do it yet. And block your calendar, emails, and phones, right? Just as if we were in a real, well, a face-to-face meeting, because this is real meetings. It's online office. We're in our online office, okay? And then hugs and kisses you, right? Please let me know what questions you have. Okay. Another example, please use it, cut and paste it to fit for purpose. So there you go. We've looked at some ways to reset the context. Platinum rule, go talk to people, open-ended questions starting with what, how, why, those 3 magic words, yeah? Listen. Jot down notes, what you're hearing, okay? People have been through a lot. We want to give them as much empathy and grace as possible, and then reset for performance on our team, yeah? Good. Let's do a quick, what we call focus point, and check in about where we are. We are running right along. We're right on time. Next, we're going to look at resetting our own bar for performance. Here's our focus point. We just finished resetting the context for the team. Now we're going to reset our own habits. Let's take a peek at that. That's that next page on the handout, because knowing how to do that will definitely make our teams better, our performance better. Yeah. Resetting our habits. It's similar. You're going to see similar asks of you as the facilitator as we're asking of the team. Setting up your studio. Arrange the space so you can stand. I'm standing right now. I have a lift desk and a smaller plastic bin that I've got my laptop on so that I can look just as you'll want to into the screen versus having the screen tilted down. Okay. So think about your space and how to utilize it best. You want to look at how to use the blur option on Zoom or MS Teams if you don't know how, right? So you can blur your background or have a background up that is professional. Yeah. Okay. Check your lighting. I've got this ring light here. See, it snaps on to the side of the laptop. Look what happens if it goes away. I've got other lighting handy, so this may not be as effective here. Look what happens when you put it on. Totally different, right? $6, $6 for that ring light. Check it out. It makes a huge difference. We want to be able to see people's faces, yeah? So we can read the communication. Check your camera angles. So again, standing is good. Your energy's higher that way, and you're looking directly into the camera. Avoid windows behind you because you'll fade out. You'll be in the shadows. So again, utilize your space well. Use the largest screen you can have available. Block your calendar and phones, just as we're asking the team to, so you won't be interrupted. Hey, and check out this one. What are you wearing, right? What message is that sending? What is the nonverbal communication, right? Crisp, professional. We want to be thinking about resetting the bar for the team. They'll model what we do, right? And in fact, take a moment, look at your setup right now. Take a look at how your place is set up that you are, if this is where you do work from. Yeah, what's the lighting like? You've seen yourself online. Yeah, jot some notes. How can you reset? Make it even better for your team. Make your meetings online lean. Reset your energy high, especially online. People want the experience of being engaged, so be engaging. Yes, that requires us to stretch our bar. And standing, I got to tell you, standing is a game changer. When I sit, I get relaxed. Not when I'm facilitating. Relaxation is for after the meeting. Yeah, makes sense? So consider standing and setting up your studio to be able to do that. Start on time. We mentioned so many meetings waste time at the beginning because people aren't sure what to do. You start on time. In the pre-work, you'll take care of all the details so you can start right on time. And part of that will be having an objective and an agenda ready to go. Yeah. Who's heard of accelerated learning as we're running down this page on this handout? Who's heard of accelerated learning? Yeah, it's based on neuroscience and how the brain likes to learn, how it takes in information, how it keeps it in there, and how it can retrieve it long after it's been inputted, so that we can use this information, whatever it might be, out in the field. Our presentation right now, and my team and in my work, we use accelerated learning in all of our training. This is woven in as a way, especially online, to keep people engaged. So we're going to look at some techniques in addition to having cameras on that help people be engaged online. First of all, smile. Everybody go ahead. Let me see your beautiful faces. Smile. If you're not a smiler and you're hearing some conversation in your head about this, maybe even resistance a little bit, I'm not going to do that. That's important information too, isn't it? So note that. Have a little chat with yourself, a little go see in your own head. Yeah. Smiling sets the tone. Smiling is engaging and it's strong nonverbal communication. So look at yourself on screen, make sure you're smiling. Really helpful. The how many of you question is a great way to engage people. Hand up when you do this, leaning into the screen, backing away from the screen. Charts with alternating color help the eye stay focused and engaged. All of this is on purpose. We are looking to simulate being in person. So movement, engagement, smiling, and energy is a way to do that instead of a flat screen. Making sense? You'll also note there's no PowerPoint in this presentation on purpose, by design. One of the things you're going to want to help your team as well as yourself perhaps fine tune going forward is, what do I really need people to know from my PowerPoint? 1, 2, 3 things max is what's going to stick in their brain. Everything else can be supporting data you send later or before the meeting. So 1, 2, 3 PowerPoints is all. Color, a visual image, often helpful to relate a concept. Okay, so think about those things and who you might want to talk to in your pre-work when they're going to be doing a presentation for you to help them hone and be more effective with their PowerPoint in your meeting. Yeah, good, good. How y'all doing? Great, great. Almost time for Q&A. We're on that accelerated learning underlined portion of this last page of the handout titled Resetting Our Habits. So we've looked at smiling, the how many of you questions. Let's see hands. You're asking people. See their faces. Yeah, getting them engaged. And you know, I can't see all of you. That's not the point. The point is we want to engage them, ask them to participate. It's going to change the way they participate. Whether I see them or not, I can't see you right now. Yeah, you look beautiful. Nice one. Hand signals. 1, 2, 3. Help people focus. So we focus like a laser on this idea. Yeah, let's see you do this. Go ahead. We're going to focus like a laser for these next 15 or so minutes. Yeah, nice job. Get people in breakout rooms. In this context here for the conference, we're not doing breakout rooms. In your meetings, absolutely. Ask an open-ended question to set up the team at the beginning of the meeting. Welcome, everybody. Here's our agreements. Here's our agenda objective. What's been on your mind this past week or 2 weeks, whatever the time frame is, since we last met? I'm going to put you in breakout rooms with your buddies, teams of 2s, 3s, however your team is broken up best. Discuss what you've been working on out there. What are some of the challenges you're up against? Whatever question it is, it's the engagement piece, warming up the brain piece, participation piece we're looking to accomplish here. Right? Got it. Yeah. So breakout rooms online early and often. We talked about PowerPoint breaks, more breaks. If you're in a multi-hour meeting, breaks every 45 minutes. You don't want it to linger. You'll lose them. Screen fatigue, it's called. Yeah, you know it. You've been there. Just a reminder, I'm with you. I've been out in the field. I haven't wanted to turn my camera on. It takes more time to be prepared with my camera on, doesn't it? How I look, what I'm going to wear, all those kind of things, my background, charts, so forth. And we know that having cameras on is a game changer. It's critical going forward. All the other tools I've just mentioned, and there's more, I'd be happy to share with you another time, because we only have an hour, right? We are field tested, these tools. These tools have been field tested. We know they work. I guarantee it. So invitation, please use them. Call, check in, email me with questions about after the conference about how to implement them going forward. Happy to chat with you about it. It's a new world, yeah? And lastly, going forward, we've all been through a lot the last several years. Good on all of you. Sending good wishes to all of you. It's been quite a workout, huh? Resetting expectations can be an important upgrade for your team's performance. So not only what we're talking about, a larger team discussion about how do they want it to go going forward. Be a great opportunity right now, end of fiscal year or beginning of fiscal year, end of a calendar year, to implement new things and have a bigger discussion about how we're going to operate as a team. What are resources that you have in your organization to provide for things like ring lights, lift desks, any of the tools we're talking about to help people do better at home and be connected? What am I doing that I might want to change that'll help my team and my own performance? Having cameras on is a business strategy. It's not a nice to do or you want them to do it. It's a business strategy. If these facilitator tools we're talking about and you're seeing modeled today seem rusty or you're not familiar with them, please get some training around this. It's exceptional facilitation changes teams. Yes, yeah. And finally, as any of you who fly on planes have heard numerous times, put on your own mask before helping others. Us first. We model, and then the team will follow. So be brave. You got this. You're doing an awesome job. Well done. High five. Give your neighbors a high five. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the gift of your time. And with that, we did our quick review and close. And now questions and answers. What do you got? What are the questions? I'll see what I can do with the answers. Over to you.
Peg, there are lots of great questions in the Q&A.
Great, let's go.
Yes, amazing presentation. See, just kind of jumping around here. One question Danae asked, and I think we all can relate, but what do you do in situations where bandwidth is an issue and not everyone can have their camera on?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I would check this out. You can ask people, where are they trying to broadcast from? Because sometimes I know a lot of folks have gone into a room at a part of their home or out in a garage where they can't get the bandwidth. It's not coming in well. Sometimes if they move, they physically move closer in to their router, whatever it might be, they'll get better reception. That's an easy fix. And I've seen that happen with a number of folks in organizations. And then for those who it's like, I don't have that bandwidth, that's going to be a different conversation. So I think that's that like almost 80-20 rule. I think 80%, at least in my experience, I can't speak for all of you all. It's more of the 80% of people to go, I can't, handle it. How about we move around then? And what are some other fixes we could help with to get you that bandwidth versus they absolutely don't have that. So use open-ended questions to dig a little deeper, detective work. How can I help with that? What solutions do you think are possible in your situation to get you the bandwidth? How can I help connect you, right? All using what, how, whys versus, oh, you don't have the bandwidth? Oh, okay, right? How do we help our team? Yeah. Absolutely. Good luck with that. That's a tricky one. Yeah.
That is, especially with us being across the state, virtually, and maybe even in out of state.
Oh, around the world, right? Yeah.
Awesome. Another question here. Daryl asked, what type of meetings is camera off appropriate, and what type of meetings are appropriate when cameras are more appropriate? What's your decision-making process when making that discernment? Is there a type of meeting where cameras off are appropriate over cameras on?
Well, and who was that from?
Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. If cameras are off, it's really like a phone call. Unless they're presenting some PowerPoint you can see, but everybody's cameras off. I would begin with cameras are on at all meetings. It's like showing up in the online office. And then if I want to send you PowerPoint, I would do that. That's where I'm looking with my teams, and others organizations are saying, yeah, this is the reset. So let's test having cameras on for a good, 6 months, and we'll evaluate and see what that looks like. And where could we, if it's appropriate, have cameras off meetings? Why? What would be the benefit of that? That's the why question. What would be the benefit of us to have our cameras off? I'm not quite sure what it would be. You'd have to let the data tell you what that would be and let the team tell you. Yeah. I'd say cameras on. It's an online office. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Chelsea actually asked, and I think we can all relate to this as well. But what about where it's not your team you're dealing with? Say you're an external member to an organization coming in. Do we need to go to the managers of that team and convince them to try something different?
Hey, yeah, convince, I'd say inform and go in with that attitude. Hey, I went to this presentation, use this data as a toe in the door. And we're looking at resetting how we're doing business, and cameras on has just been a business strategy that's a game changer at this point. With 70% of communication being nonverbal, we are losing 70% of information between our team, important cues about what people are thinking, how to participate and grab them and reel them in if we can't see them. So I'd suggest we do a test for the next quarter. What would it be like to say we're going to have our cameras on? It's an online office. How we show up in the office, how we show up online, they are congruent. Yeah, I'd set it up that way. Yeah, like it's hot news, it's good news versus, oh yeah, I gotta put the camera on. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Aiden asks, do you have any suggestions for an employee where the organization's management's focus is all on in-person meetings and work instead of having virtual/flexible options with the return to normal phasing?
Yeah, well, yes. Ask the open-ended question. Sounds like, so it's a tee up something to this effect. You know, wow, we've all been through a lot with these remote home, working from home, meetings and interacting as a team. There's been a lot of good from that. People, and you name the reasons for your organization. You can find data out there so easily. Just Google the benefits of working from home. You'll have, there'll be your talking points. How would we be able to hybrid, like many organizations are doing going forward into the new way of doing business, and stay on the edge of being innovative and creative and allowing people a hybrid, some face-to-face, some at home? What would it be like for us to have a conversation as a team about that? I'd love to tee that up. I'm hearing so much good about it. How could we apply that here and make it even better for our folks? Because otherwise we're going back to the old way. And not that that's bad and the new way is good. It's what are the benefits? How do we apply both, right?
Absolutely, balance. Tracy asked, this is a great question. How do you perform a Gemba walk or a go-see with team members in a virtual world? If people are working from home, that may present some challenges.
Yeah, thanks. If I wasn't clear about that, thank you for tying that up. The go-see online version is like this. It's a Zoom meeting and you ask for cameras on. I want to see you. I want you to see me. I want to know you. And I don't know you in the same way. Yeah. So yeah, I'd ask for that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Marty asks, so when you have extroverts and introverts on your team, how do we accommodate everyone rather than alienate folks who are maybe uncomfortable on camera?
Yeah, first, if that's Marty.
Marty,
yeah, thanks. And thanks everybody for your questions. Breakout rooms. Start with your opening, whatever you lay out as your objective, your agenda, your agreements posted, parking lot, get through that opening, welcome and opening. The next part, the welcome part of the welcome and opening is let's break into breakout rooms, whether that's online or face-to-face, you put them in small groups. What are the top 3 things that have been on your plate since we last met? Whatever question you want to ask, Marty. Top 3 things. What are your biggest concerns about the project at this point? Whatever it might be. Again, the point is getting them engaged and talking so that the introverts in small groups can warm up a little faster. And then each small group reports out as a large group. So small groups talk, they're all talking. Timer, hey, let's hear from everybody. Who will be a spokesperson for group A over here? Who will be a spokesperson? And then what were some of the things you talked about? So everybody hears common themes on the teams. What questions do you have left now that you've heard from everybody? This gives the introverts chances to get warmed up and start talking more. They will, guarantee it. Yeah. And keep doing that throughout the whole process.
Thank you. Theo asks an interesting question just regarding kind of accessibility. So the focus on having cameras feels a little bit off. It sounds like what you're working towards is engagement, but people have their cameras off, can be more inclusive and equitable. For example, people who are blind or have low vision may be able to see what their colleagues are seeing, or may not be able to see what their colleagues are seeing, or may not know where to look. People with anxiety conditions can feel their anxiety heightened on camera, and it may be difficult for deaf or hard of hearing individuals to read CART or ASL while on camera. Do you have any tips on kind of navigating that?
Yeah, back to where we started. Thanks. Those interviews, so you could call them, I call them chats, like check-ins with people, Gembas, go sees, to ask those very questions. What have been the challenges for you online? What are some of the challenges you find that I can help with to make sure that we're connecting at our best? What's that look like for you? What's ideal look like? So platinum rule, how would they like to be treated? Then we talk to the whole team and say, after the interviews, our chance to chat and connect with each other, here's what we're hearing. A range from, yeah, cameras on, no problem, and some challenges over here about cameras. And here's what the challenges look like, with the permission of the people, of course, to name those and speak those challenges if they're comfortable with that. We want that permission. And so that you'll see a range. There may be a couple people who will not have their cameras on at our meetings because of their specific situation, right? Versus on this end, I've had people say to me, you may have heard it too, ah, then I got to get dressed and I got to put my makeup on, or I have to comb my hair or whatever it might be. It's like, well, think about what you would do if you were coming into the office face to face. Would you wear your pajamas? Is that part of our, bar for performance? Then let's set that same bar, whatever it might be. Maybe we do wear pajamas. I don't know, whatever works for your team. And that we all agree to that. That's what we want, right? Yeah. So there's certainly a range of considerations.
Yeah, great. I think we have maybe time for one more question. We're at 11:58. Shirley asks, what if you have a lot of working meetings that you have to share your screen using different platforms, Word, Excel, PowerPoint? Should you have your camera on then?
Yeah, and who was that?
Shirley,
thanks. Yeah, pop back and forth as much as you can. I am not, I'll just claim it, I am not tech savvy in that way. As the popping back and forth, I've had glitches. I've shut the whole team off. So then we have to reboot. I have seen people on my own team artfully split the screens so they are able to see, or you can minimize yourself. I do know that in the upper right corner on Zoom, there's a view box. And in that upper right corner, you can make your tile very small and everybody else's. So you're still being able to do some engagement over here while you're showing some data, then pop back, right? Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a tricky one.
It is, absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for such great questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them, but Peg, thank you so much for just being here with us today. And I know that attendees are just taking away some easy yet powerful strategies that we can use to implement, and increase our engagement and results with our team.
Yeah, good on you, everybody. Feel free to email with questions that didn't get answered. Be happy to do some dialogue with you. Yeah.